Okay. Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Don't have a mic over here at the desk today. But let's see. David's here. Nick's here. Get it now. Us is here. Rich is here. Mike and Todd and Tommy and Marie and Gast. Check the checklist. Yes. Gast 589. Welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah, we're working on, let's see, can we do this? Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Is that light? No. Oh, okay. It's the screen there. There we go. I'm at the control desk. About to move into the studio, and it's the proverbial one-man band. We need to mute that. There's the mute button right there. Muted. Yeah. Yeah, this is looking over my shoulder right here. And see what you can see. Can we move it up a little bit and over a little bit? Yeah, there you go. So that's the idea of the studio over there. And the control surface here. Yeah, low audio because it's a mic across the room. The mic is on. Rich has sound but no video. Your regular mic is off. No, the only mic I have is on. The other one's disconnected and in a box. I was testing it somewhere else. So, yeah, hang on a second. I'll go over here just so you know that the mic is on. The mic is on. Check 1, 2, 3. Check. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on? Yeah, it's working. It's working. It's just not set up for a pre-show. But we're getting there. How are we doing on time? We've got 6 minutes. So we've got time to break things. Mike is in Texas. No wonder you can't hear me. Today we're going to talk about double chroma keying, and this is not the professional way of chroma keying. We're talking about trying to get two different images in the same camera shot. So, for example, we're talking about keying out this one behind me, and then and putting dancing girls back there, and then keying out this and putting snowflakes. So it's going to be fun. Tommy says, I can see no video, but I do have these pretty lights in front of my eyes. You can't see video? You are playing with me. Daniel's here. Welcome, Daniel. Steve, glad to have you. Had fun earlier, was on the streaming, the PTZ Optics user group show from the Stream Geeks. And we talked about the WFX conference a couple of weeks ago in Orlando. That was a lot of fun. Good to hang out with those folks. A lot of fun. Like the way Martin S. fixes the green bit in the vMix shirts. Probably. No, I think in that one he actually takes the background image and he superimposes in Photoshop or something, superimposes a green square on it so that their shirts come out green. Although I could be wrong. But I've got a process I want to show you as to how I was able to do it today, because boy, it didn't work the way I was planning it. I said, oh yeah, this will be cool. We can get to do this the way and this that way, and it just didn't. Thank you, Tommy. I was hoping you were joking, but it worked. So I'm really excited about that. Can't wait to bring it to you in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And I mean, all the cool folks are here. We could probably go ahead and get started, but I want to wait just a few more minutes. I mean, I never start the show early, so let's don't get any bad precedent set here. Tommy says, change the green square to a red square. Would that be the vMix squares? I think he was changing the green mix square to the green square to a green square, if I have it right. But we'll see. I mean, what I may be doing is maybe, a little bit different than what you're talking about. Mine is liable to be much more elementary and basic, but that's okay. That's okay. But I think it's going to be a little trick that you can put in your toolbox that you're going to keep, and I'll show you why today that you'll do it. Yeah, why you will do it. Yeah, I think the problem the vMix guys were having was the little green square in their logo was showing up with whatever their green screen image was. So could you chroma black? Sure, why not? Who was it that suggested that I take a spray bottle and just spray water on my green screen? That worked. I mean, it's not perfect, but I did one section like that and one section not like that, and you can tell where I did it. It's smoother. It's not perfect, but it's smoother. All right. Gunnar is in Sweden. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Michael Graves, yeah, we knew he was here. Kevin's here. Welcome, Kevin. Glad to have you. Andrew, Dave. All right. All right, y'all behave now. If you're watching this on Facebook and you're wondering who I'm talking to the folks that are in the chat room right here. Well, you probably figured that out. But this chat's going to go away when we start the show, so I would invite you to come on over right down there at the bottom to easternshorebroadcasting.com. That way you can get it on the chat. And if you're watching us on YouTube directly, we're not following the chat there either. We'll follow it on the easternshorebroadcasting.com page, the Watch Now page. Michael Graves says you can't chrome key based on black or white. It has to be a saturated color. Didn't know that. Hey, Dave. And Dave, we have ladies present today, so just wanted you to know. Just wanted you to know. All right, we've got 30 seconds. So remember, I start the show here at the control desk, and then I run over there. No, Marie, I'm not using a mic here at the control desk. It'll be better in just a minute. Hang in there. So let's get the show going, and I'm going to mute the mic, and I'm going to use my X keys, my cough button down here to mute it, and then I'll turn it back on when I can. Here we go. Welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair. This is Streaming Idiots. You have arrived. Yes, you have arrived at your final destination. No, that's terrible. So welcome. Glad to have you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Don't forget. Well, you can't forget because I haven't told you yet, but we're going to be doing our annual prediction show coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to predict for 2019. Our predictions have been horribly inaccurate. So I just wanted you to know that. So it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll go back and review some of the ones that were not particularly accurate. So that will be cool. Today we're going to be talking about chroma key and about, again, I'm not an expert in this area. I'm in the shallow end of the pool. We're going to talk about double chroma key. You say, double chroma key, Tom? What's double chroma key? Well, double chroma key is, number one, I've got a single chroma key behind me. Let's see if we can bring it up here. Yeah, there we go. And it's just a green screen. It's got wrinkles in it. Yes, I know it has wrinkles in it, but it keys out pretty well. And, of course, it's vMix that's doing all this. We're running vMix 21, vMix 22. Well, haven't heard yet when the beta's coming out, but it's coming out soon and very soon. Maybe this month, maybe next month. And it's going to have all sorts of cool features in it. We've talked about those on other shows, so we won't talk about those now. But this is a feature that I think could be done with any software that does chroma key. I don't think this is unique to vMix. But the thought I had was, okay, let's say that here's the scenario. This is what made me think of the whole thing. This is fun. You'll enjoy this. Last night, I was shopping with my wife. Hey, Jerome, glad you're here. Is she watching this show? I love her to death, but I hate shopping. I like buying. I hate shopping. I just can't do it, Anyway, that's a story for another day. In fact, it's not even a story. So we're shopping and we go to this one store and they have this rack. Actually, it was like 4 or 5 or 6 different blazers for men, I guess for women too, that were Christmas themed. And they had candy canes on them and reindeer on them and all sorts of fancy patterns. And they were very flashy. The kind of thing that you would wear to a Christmas party if you wanted to be the center of attention. So naturally, I tried one on. And I think she took a picture. I was wearing a plaid shirt and it was just, it was hilarious. At least it was to me. She was like, oh, whatever. But as I thought about that, I actually considered getting one to bring on and wear on today's show, but I couldn't get one to fit. So I said, well, what if I just wore a green shirt and I could key out the green and I could put in a Christmas pattern instead. And I thought, well, that wouldn't work because then the Christmas pattern would be behind me too. What I would need would be say it with me, a double chroma key. A double chroma key. I'll chroma key the green screen and then I'll wear a blue shirt and I can chroma key the blue out separately and put in the pattern for the blue. And then the green would be my super duper backdrop right there. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate that. And a shout out to Martin Kay for the intro to the show. The intro and the outro and the stinger are all his work, and the infomercial, which we'll get to in just a second. So I'm thinking, all right, so we got to do a double chroma key. We got to key out the background, which is green, key out me, which is 5, which is 5, which I'm looking at the 5 number on the screen, which would be blue. And I said, well, I can't wear a blue shirt because that's not a thing. So I brought a blue jacket with me. So I'm going to get the blue jacket on here. Let me go ahead and slip this on because it's going to all make much more sense when I get it's actually not a jacket. It's a vest, but let me get my vest on here. And I said, okay, so this will be easy. This will be easy, right? All I have to do is key out the green, and then I'll come back and key out the blue. And those of you that know, a lot about chroma key, or maybe even a moderate amount about chroma key, will understand immediately that that's not going to work, Tom. No matter what you try, it's not going to work because vMix doesn't work like that. A chroma key is a chroma key. Even if it's in a multi-view, it's a chroma key. So if I key out the green and then try to key out the blue in a separate input and then put those together like this shot in a multi-view, the blue chroma key it will remember the chroma key, but it won't remember the image that's being substituted for it. So it'll just do the whole thing. So it would look like me wearing a vest that was made of my background material and blended in perfectly. So I played with that and I was frustrated because it didn't work the way I wanted to. And then I said, you know what? I'm a smart guy. I can figure this out. Yeah, right. But anyway, I said, here's the ticket. Here's the ticket. Since vMix sees the chroma key as a chroma key, since it sees this blue chromed out, or keyed out rather, then I need to make it think that it's not that way. I need to make it think that it's something different. So if I send the shot that I want to make out as an NDI input or as an NDI output, and then I bring it back in as an input, it will bring in the image. It won't bring in the fact that there's chroma key and all sorts of other stuff like that. That will get stripped out. It's kind of like using a splitter to split out, what is that, HCHP or whatever it is with HDMI. Anyway, that's way off subject. So I said, okay, well, let's try that. And doggone if it didn't work. And oh golly, I left my notes across the room. You'll have to forgive me. I got to go get my notes because I'll never remember this without my notes. And I'm plugged in. So let me unplug. And you say, why are you plugged in, Tom? Well, I'm just plugged in so I can hear the music. And trip over the camera. You would think I would know better than that. Let's try again. It's just right there in the middle of the room. We'll see if that's not even close. Let's go back here. Sorry about that, guys. That's what happens when you try to do something that you shouldn't be doing. I should have had my notes with me the whole time. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so the idea is we want to turn this into a Christmas jacket. So we've got we're using an XKey 80 today, XK80, the X keys from PI Engineering. Highly recommended. We sell them in our store. Oh, did you say that? Store? You want to know about our store? Well, then it's time for the commercial part of this giant infomercial. We'll skip the info part for just a second. Yes. This whole show is an advertisement for my company, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, that you can find at easternshorebroadcasting.com. And we design and build PCs that want to do live streaming, that don't want to worry about building it themselves or buying it from somebody like Best Buy or Amazon or whatever and not knowing how it's all supposed to work and work together. And yeah, we do the vMix on it too, so that you've got one call for all your solutions. But we can also add X keys and PTZ optics cameras and Magewell and Yuan capture cards. If you're doing sports, we can put in the Sportscast controller. We also we were playing last week with the Ada 4K camera, talking about regions of interest. So all of those things are available in our store at easternshorebroadcasting.com. And that is the commercial part of this giant infomercial. So let's go back to the show. Okay. Oh no, we went back again. Let's try to do something different, shall we? Here we go. Let's just go here. We're just going to go here. We'll fade that out. The best laid plans of mice and men. Part of it is I reconfigured all my shortcuts today in order to bring you this production. So buttons that generally mean one thing don't mean the same thing today. And yes, I could have used other buttons, but that's a whole different story for a whole different time. So, okay, back to our story. So I'm in a situation that looks like this. And this is number 7. Where's number 7? Is this one. So this is it. I've keyed out the jacket so that it's now chroma key. You can see the little Columbia right here didn't get keyed out. It's black, but you can see a little red tinge to it. And basically this is what I sent out by NDI to bring back in. Now, what I want to do is I want to substitute in this pattern. So this is the pattern that's going to make my jacket a Christmas jacket. All right, so we got that. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to send this out to, let me make sure I got it right. I'm going to send it out to NDI. And when I bring it back in from NDI, it's going to replace this with the chroma key. So it's going to look like this. Yes, okay. And if I don't move all around, if I keep pretty still, it looks like a jacket. And so now I've got, and don't pay any attention to the little tape down here. I just stole this image off the internet, and it had a little ruler attached to it. I guess I could have cropped it out, but anyway. And so if I go to different places, you can see different parts of the pattern. You get the idea. You get the idea. And so I said, okay, well, I've got that. And really what it looked like first was this. And I keyed out the green. I sent it out, brought it back in as an input that looks like that after I keyed it out. And then, voila, it looks like this. So now I have my Christmas jacket as a double chroma key in vMix. You say, okay, Tom, got that. Now let's go through that a little more slowly so that we can get it one step at a time. All right, let's go slowly. All right, so we've got this pattern. This is the pattern. I stole this off the internet. You can do it with anything. Makes yourself happy with what you want. And then I basically, well, and this is the shot I started with. This is the shot I started with. This is me. Well, that's not really me, but that's, this is green behind me. But you can see it's just a blue jacket. And I picked blue because blue is the opposite of the green screen. You know, if you don't have a green screen, you have a blue screen. So I picked that out. And this is what it looks like after I key out the blue. Now you can see it's not a perfect key. It's got a little tinge of red to it. And that's probably because I just didn't key it out perfectly. But for this little gig right here, it doesn't seem to matter. So once let's go to this next one. Once I've now brought in the image from the background, and you can see the shadows that are my collar kind of give it an appearance of a jacket a little bit. It doesn't look like I've just keyed out the whole thing. So some of the shadows there are purposeful. If I had some pockets, or if I had a breast pocket with a little handkerchief or something in it, that wouldn't be keyed out unless it just happened to be blue. And of course, I wouldn't wear a blue one. I would wear a gold one or something like that, so it would look more natural. And then I took this shot and I sent it out just as is, just like this. I sent it out as an NDI output. So I went to settings, I went to the NDI outputs page, and I went to the output number 2, not output number 1, because the program output is output number 1. You don't want to change that one. So I went to output number 2, selected this input, which happens to be input number 6. So I selected input number 6 as an output, and then clicked on the NDI button, and then added a new input, which came in and looked like this. This was the NDI input. And so the second chroma key, and you can see a little bit of stuff, whatever it is. I don't have something keyed out right there. It's lost the green. And maybe it'll turn blue in just a minute. But that is now the input. And the background, I keyed out. The background was green when I brought it in. I mean, it looked like this when it came in. And so I just took it and I keyed it out so that it looked like that. And then I dropped in the regular image. This is my regular image right there. There it is. And so we'll go back through the progression there. So I've got that is going out. That's what it looks like when it comes back in after it's been keyed out And then there you go. Now I'm in a Christmas jacket. Well, I don't know that it's a Christmas jacket, but it's an ugly jacket. And I've even got some sparkles down here as if I had some, maybe, is that shadow? Is that what? No, it's just not a good key right there. But I think you get the hang of it. It's a double key, a key on green for the background, a key on blue for the jacket, and kind of an out and back. Jan says, Tom has that smug smile every time he's about to show something smart or something he thinks is smart. How about that? So the key to this all was that the second key had to go out and then come back, because vMix remembers that it's a chroma key. So when I have this image right here, oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's right. When I've keyed this one, if I were to take it straight to this shot, whoops, to this shot right here, then it's going to make this blue that background, and it's not going to even key it well. So I had to take this, send it as an output. It's just a virtual output. It doesn't really go anywhere. It just sits in a little green room somewhere until called on by vMix to come back as an input. It looks just like this, and then I key out the background so that it looks like this, and then I add back in my background back here, and whoops, did I hit the wrong button? I did. There we go. And we'll take the lower third off so you can see that fancy jacket. Now, you can do this with any holiday image you can find in the whole world. Todd says, a vMix feature request, tracking so that the holiday key will move when you move. Well, you know, we could probably do that. It would require some talent on the part of the talent. I would have to, let's say it was an image and we made a little video of that image just kind of moving back and forth and maybe going over and then coming back down. And I would have to mimic those movements at the same time in order to sort of follow that. It would be unusable, of course, but you could fake somebody out by it. So there we go. Jan says, nice pattern, but the video and audio are totally no longer in sync. That's probably because of the latency in the NDI out and back. Good point. I'll have to look and see if there's a way of cutting that latency down. And that would make it a little unusable, wouldn't it? Unless I had a second audio source that was the same audio source, but a second version of it that I could sync up with this shot right here, so that when I went to this shot, it would bring the synced up audio with it. So that's probably how we would do it if we were really, if we were a real professional. So Tommy wants me to decorate my face with the rest of my outfit. I don't think, I'd have to be blue. I'd have to be a Smurf. But there you go. So there may be a situation that you're running into where you need to do something like that. And of course, it probably would be better if it didn't involve something that required syncing out audio. But that would be how you would accomplish something like that. And again, maybe that double audio source where one is synced to this shot and then the second one is synced to this shot, so that, and you can assign, different audios to your shots. So vMix doesn't care if you're changing audio sources. But if there were a song playing in the background it wouldn't be quite as good. Jan says you don't need shots without double keying. You can just delay the main audio. And yes, I could delay it, add delay to it when I switched that shot, and then take the delay off of it when I went back to this shot. It wouldn't work if there were a music track in the background, because there would be a little glitch in the music coming into the shot and coming out of the shot. But if there wasn't any kind of soundtrack or bumper music, then it would probably work well. So there you go. That that was the deal. That was the deal. The double chroma key that allows you to have your very own Christmas jacket. What is the delay there? Yeah, there is just a tad of delay. I'm looking at the two of them. So I'll switch back so as not to annoy you. On another note, don't forget to save the date. I don't have my save the date thingy working today, I don't think. Let's see. Is this save the date? Nope, that's not save the date. So anyway, save the date is April 9th, 2019 is a Tuesday night. And on that Tuesday night in April 9th, 2019, we're going to have an intimate little get-together. Just you and me and 100 or 200 or 300 of our closest friends at the National Association of Broadcasters annual convention and conference and trade show in Las Vegas. We have almost decided on a venue for the gig, but it's going to be Tuesday night. Time is to be determined. Venue is to be determined. I'll tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about perhaps, here's the problem. Scott Whitney of Podworks Studios in Las Vegas has been very gracious and allowed us to use his studio as the venue for the Streaming Idiots meetup for the last 2 years. It was a great meetup. The first year there were 20 or 30 of us. It was a real intimate gathering, a lot of fun. Last year was a little bit bigger, 100 or so, and still a lot of fun, but close quarters. And I was beginning to become concerned about, his studio just wasn't designed to have 100 people in it, all milling around and talking and drinking and eating and all that kind of stuff. So, out of deference to Scott, we said, we can't do that way anymore. And we looked for some alternatives. We looked at renting a tent and putting it outside and then doing studio tours and having all the food outside and all the festivities outside. But the problem was the tent was going to be thousands and thousands of dollars. And I've greatly appreciated all the folks that came out to sponsor the event last year, both with giveaways and with cash to help underwrite the food and the other hard costs. But it was a bridge too far, I think, to ask for $4,000 or $5,000 to have this party. I mean, at some point, it may be that kind of thing that we have a sponsor that says it's worth it to do that. But so we were looking at lower cost alternatives and renting venues and the venues that we would rent, were going to be the same amount. So what we're looking at now is trying to use a booth at NAB for a post-show party. And we're investigating what the limitations will be on how long you can stay and what kind of beverages you can bring and food you can bring and that kind of thing. So we're in talks with 1 or 2 of our sponsors now about maybe using their booth for the meetup because it's already paid for. And there might be a little cleaning fee or something like that associated with the show. But that's the current thoughts, that it's going to be a meetup at the NAB at the Las Vegas Convention Center in one of the halls, hosted by one of the sponsors, essentially, that they will provide the venue. So we'll keep you informed on that, but you definitely want to get your hotel rooms. You definitely want to begin to check into those flight arrangements, and we'd love to have you come. I mean, if you come on a Tuesday, make sure you stay over till Wednesday. If you come on Monday, then you got to stay till Wednesday, and if you come on Wednesday, then you missed it. So don't do that. Make sure you come over, and it'll be a great opportunity to meet folks that you've probably talked to or corresponded with online or in chats or by email or other different ways, or people you've just heard us talk about. You get to meet all those folks in person, and it's a pretty good crowd. It's a lot of fun. And plus, I think we'll probably have some great gifts to give away again this year. We'll hit up all those sponsors and see if we can't get the good stuff this year. Although last year's stuff was pretty good. Anyway, that's the save the date, April 9th, the second Tuesday in April, which is the Streaming Idiots meetup at NAB 2019. You got to be there. What else? Coming up in January, really excited that we're going to get, oh golly, now I've forgotten his name. It's the CEO of POE Texas. I think it's Tyler Bryan. Oh golly, bless his heart. He's probably watching right now, and I'm embarrassing him. I'm sorry, Tyler. I've forgotten your last name. So Tyler is going to come on, and Tyler has created all sorts of amazing things with PoE, Power over Ethernet. And so he's going to come on the show and talk about some of the things. Yes, he's got switchers and routers and things like that, PoE injectors and, that kind of stuff. But he's just said, well, if you can do this, then you can do that. And if you've got PoE Plus, which is 30 watts, or PoE Plus Plus, which is 60, or PoE Plus Plus Plus, which is 100, golly gee, you can do all sorts of stuff. So he's going to come on and amaze us with all of the cool gear that PoE Texas has got, and you can find out about it right now at PoE Texas. They sell on Amazon, and they're probably on. I know when you go to their website, which is probably like poetexas.com, you can find out more information about where to get their gear. But really, really cool stuff. And so we'll be doing that in January. Coming up, probably the Wednesday between Christmas and New Year's, we'll do our 2019 prediction show. I'm toying with naming a streaming personality. I was going to call it Streaming Man of the Year, but it could also be a woman. So the Streaming Person of the Year from the Streaming Idiots, in our view, the person that's had the most impact in live streaming in 2018. So it'll be kind of a retrospective of 2018 to determine who I think has had the greatest impact. And no, I can see you thinking it right now. No, I will not be naming myself. So there you go. Won't be naming myself on that. So that'll be coming up the Wednesday between Christmas and New Year's. And say, Tom, why don't you just take the week off? Well, frankly, I was planning on doing that, but I've invited my mom and my brother to come visit for Christmas. They'll be there that week. And so I thought, well, come on down to the studio. I'll show you what I do, because my mom, who's 85, has had a hard time kind of visualizing what it is I do and how it works. So we'll invite her into the studio. We'll get her on, get on the show for a second, and let her have a look at it. And plus, it'll give you guys something to do when you're kicking around with nothing else to do between Christmas and New Year's. Otis asks, am I predicting 4K PTZ optics cameras? That's an interesting prediction. I did not have that on my list, Otis, but I'm going to have to consider that one. If you've got questions about how we did the double chroma key or any other questions, I will address those directly here in the post show, which is coming up briefly. So thanks for watching, Streaming Idiots. I hope you'll join us again. Oh, if you haven't already, if you've watched this far and you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, you may as well. If you've watched this far and you haven't joined our Streaming Idiots Facebook group, which is one of the coolest streaming groups on Facebook, then you probably need to do that. Just go to Facebook and search for Streaming Idiots, and you'll find it there. And it's like, Streaming Idiots, why does that sound familiar? It's the name of the show. Thank you, Jan and Marie, for starting this group. Maybe we'll have to nominate them for People of the Year. I'll have to think hard about that one. So like us on, subscribe to us on YouTube. Join our group on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. You know, that routine, all that stuff, so that we can bombard you with all sorts. No, we don't do that. I will say, though, we'd love to have your email address so that we can send you notices of when we're doing special stuff, because we have a list of folks that we send special stuff to that doesn't make it to anywhere else. So if you want to join that list, you're welcome to. There's a sign-up form on our website, easternshorebroadcasting.com. Or if you sign up for the Streaming Idiots group, you're required to give us your email address in order to join the group, because we want to kind of hold you accountable. We don't want kind of, trolls coming in. And we'll add your name to the list, your email to the list for that too. Okay, so post-show, hang around for that. We'll be right back, and we'll be taking questions from the chat. See you in a sec. Been a lot of fun. Love it. Love it. That was so much fun. So much fun. Thank you, Martin K., for producing that. So I at this point, don't have access to scroll back the chat, because I'm operating everything from, 20 feet away on my XK80 that I have abused and beat up and modified so many times that, that's just the way it is. Well, Dan is here. What a coincidence that Dan from PI Engineering, the maker of X keys, would show up when I'm talking about my X keys. What a coink. Dan is about to go on vacation till the end of the year. So if you have a question about X keys, you need to grab him right now, because otherwise he's not going to be around. So for those of you that just joined us, you missed the whole show. We're in the post show now. And if you're going, what is this thing over here? Well, that's the chat room. And if you go to easternshorebroadcasting.com down there at the bottom, you can get in on the chat, and you can ask questions and chat with everybody else there. So Otis wants to know, will I be predicting a 4K PTZ optics camera in my annual predictions for 2018? Actually, it's not my annual predictions for 2018, because that was this year. It would be my annual predictions for the next year. Yes, Otis, I think that will be one of my predictions. I think that's a good idea, and you're going to get credit for that. This is Otis's prediction that in 2019, PTZ Optics will announce, I don't know that they'll ship, but I bet they'll announce a 4K PTZ camera. We'll have to see about that. Now, keep in mind, this is from the same person that predicted, was it 2 years or 3 years ago, that Facebook Live would be a horrid flop. So keep in mind that anything I say has to be taken with a huge grain of salt. Huge grain of salt. So Jan says the Streaming Idiots group is by far the best group on Facebook. Jan started the group, by the way. He said, in fact, we will start to take members free at the door just to limit the number inside. We can barely fit more people inside, so hurry and get in there. Yeah. Actually, Jan, I don't know about you, but when I go through the list of folks that asked to be members, I think we're taking about 3 out of every 5. Not everybody gets in, and it's not that I'm trying to be exclusive and and keeping people out, but I can tell by looking at some people's profiles, if they're just a gamer and they're looking for a place to get eyeballs for their games, that's not who we are. That's not where we are. If they are, have got blood and gore as part of their Facebook, I'm sorry, but they're not coming in. I can't stomach that. So we are being a little picky and just letting in the cream of the crop. What you say? So Kenny says, Tom, you were spot on with your Facebook prediction a couple of years ago. Thank you, Kenny. Just rub it in just a little bit. I need to go back and look at some of those and see how accurate I was with some. And some ruffled some feathers. So I need to be a little bit more careful. Although ruffling feathers is not a bad idea in and of itself, if that's your only intention. Then that's a different story. So Dan, which is PI Engineering right here, says that he feels like he's about to get voted off the island. Dan, I think you're safe, at least for another week. Jan says, once inside, we will never let you go. All right. Yeah, send them to the Screaming Idiots. That's right. Yeah, join the Screaming Idiots group. We could set up one for Screaming Idiots, and I could just automatically join all those people to that group. No, that wouldn't be fair. The idea of the group is, number one, Jan and Marie, I just, continue to appreciate you guys for starting that group. They did it as a way to honor me or humor me, I'm not sure which, but to name a group after the show and to at least start out to be folks that were viewers of the show. And what happened, I think we wanted to have maybe 50 people in the group after 6 months or something like that. And of course, now it's pushing, it probably is going to hit 2,500 by the end of the year. But again, we're not taking everybody, so it's not like we're trying to be the biggest group there is. It's not like that. But the idea is not the idea. The idea was to be basically people that watch the show and could talk about the show. And what's happened is it's taken on a life of its own, which is great. I'm so thrilled at that. It's become a technical support group. It's become a group for people to bounce ideas off. When they bump into something, a product that they really like, they'll post about that. Now, I will tell you that if you are a manufacturer or a company that sells products that compete with mine, or maybe you sell the same products I do, I'm probably not going to let you do a whole lot of posting about your company because, the whole idea of the Streaming Idiots show is that it's a marketing outreach of easternshorebroadcasting.com, where you can watch the show and get the chat. So it's kind of how would you describe it? It's a group that's sponsored by a company, and so if your company wants to come post competing products and ideas, you can't. Sorry, but you can't start your own group. So there you go. Rich says, on a separate note, Facebook Live started doing DVR functions on their live streams for most or all of the content. What I'd love to see them do, Rich, is to bump up to 1080. That would be the DVR is nice, I guess. How often do people DVR a live show? I can understand, for example, maybe if you're catching this show at the very end, you want to drag that little bar all the way back so that you can watch the show from the beginning. But I don't know during the middle of a show, especially a show that had a chat with it that was kind of paralleling the show, that you would want to DVR and miss out on the live stuff because the chat wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, that's just me. Although, I'll tell you on Facebook, who was it? I was watching a show one day and I was late. Oh, I know what it was. It was the vMix Fun Time live show. And I was watching it on YouTube. and I was, 15 minutes late for the show, and the show was going to be 20 or 30 minutes or something like that. And so I wanted to catch up. And so I turned it on 2 times normal speed. I dragged the little bar all the way back to the beginning, and then hit the little gear icon for the settings and changed the speed to 2x. And so Martin and Tim were talking like this and just running through everything they had to say. It was hilarious. But I was also able to kind of catch up and not miss anything, and then catch up to live before the show ended. So that was really a fun thing. Fun thing. So Andrew says, Jan, we are all estimating Tom's pulling power, all the migrants from that V show. Oh, yeah, that show. Well, I think all 3 of those viewers are still watching this show. Aren't you, Kent? Yeah, Kent's here. Kent's got a question. Let's see if we can help him with this question. Tom, I think I'm ready for some help updating my workflow with audio and video. Is there a good time to set up a meeting with you? Well, yeah. I'll send you an email with some suggestions. I'm still fighting with my audio with my Behringer Xenix 1204 USB, which I used to have, Kent, and I got rid of because I got tired of fighting it, and got the Behringer UMC 404 HD, which normally is priced at between $99 and $129, but I found some on sale a couple of weeks ago for $69. If I find that again, I'll post it in the Facebook group. But you might put that on the Christmas list for yourself, just to get you one of those. He said, just wondering what's the best device to use with vMix and audio. Also, any updates on streaming remotely with a Canon G30. Okay, we can talk. So Amnon is getting on Andrew's case. Amnon, you understand that it's probably like 5 in the morning or 4:45 in the morning in Australia right now. So if he misspells a word, I doubt if it's drinking. And Marie says the group for scammers is called Scheming Idiots. Oh, that's good. I like it. It's just a 1,000 variations on a theme. There we go. Oh, Todd, thank you. I forgot all about the snacks. We haven't been paying attention to snacks. So he wants to know who's bringing the Christmas cookies next week. Yeah, there you go. Andrew says, I wish it's too early for him. Todd says, always accept cookies. Oh, I get it. Yeah, there you go. Good. All right, what is Tommy talking about now? John, it may be there are only 250 people who are actively watching the page. Many just join pages like they are collecting page and don't intend to be an active member. Well, that's probably true. Although, Tommy, I think there's a third category of folks, and I've thought about this a lot, and I used to be in this category, which is they like the show, they like the chat, they like the group, and they enjoy reading about it, but they just don't care to participate, for lots of reasons. I remember when I was watching Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's one of my heroes there, right there. And Leo had a chat. And man, I was so intimidated by that chat because there were people in there that really knew what they were talking about, whatever the subject was. And I knew I didn't, whatever the subject was. I wasn't about to chat in that chat room. Had it been a group, I probably wouldn't have posted in the group either. So I think there are a lot of folks that are learning and lurking and just, maybe biding their time till they have all their ducks in a row, or they have a question that they can't find an answer to somewhere else. So I think there are a ton of folks that are reaping the full benefit. They're just not participating by providing any input. That's my thought on it, Tommy. And Jan says, Tommy, when you look at the stats, there are a lot of people just watching and not participating, but it's still a very active group. Yep, there you go. And Dan says, Jan, it's one of the most active groups I'm in. I mean, I know you guys can read it over here, but you don't want to just watch me kind of read it to myself. So that's why I read it out loud. And Tommy says, then they should be shot. Okay, well, we're not going to go to Tommy for leniency. Jan says, I'm kind of proud of the group and afraid to do something that will mess it up. Well, I think, Jan, I think we set the group in the right direction, and we've made some, little teeny little adjustments to how it's directed. And if somebody's misbehaving, they get a warning. Don't misbehave. Treat people nicely, treat people fairly, treat people with respect. Don't be rude. Play nice. And then if they don't, they're gone. And we can throw them out. We can mute them. We can throw them out and block them so they can't even find the group in the future. I haven't done that. But there have been some folks that we've removed. People that, repeatedly post their game videos, which, you guys don't have any interest in. Certainly I don't. And it doesn't bring anything to the table. So those people, they go out. They're not banned for life. I mean, if they want to come back in, they probably can. And there probably have been some folks that we've tossed out because they misbehaved, and then they said, oh, that's what they were talking about. So they asked to come back in, and we let them back in, and now they're behaving. So there you go. I don't think we can mess that up. Tommy says, if you're watching but not chatting, then look behind. I am coming. Subtle as brick. Yeah, we can hear Tommy's mule. That's good. Michael Graves says, what I really dislike are people posting streams of no value. Yeah. And most people, and you guys have my permission to report those, and we'll look at them, and, 99 of 100 are removed, but then there's the one or two that do have some value, or maybe people have misperceived. Like, for example, when Rich, I don't know if Rich is still here, but Rich sometimes will post either a link to an upcoming live stream, or he might post his live stream of one of his water events, because it's doing a lot of jet ski racing and things like that. And so if you didn't know, you might think that was just sort of a selfish post, but really, in some ways, and again, we may need to do a better job of explaining it, but it's a way to show what vMix will do, and I like those kind of posts. Otis says he purchased vMix after watching and learning about vMix from Streaming Idiots. There you go. And I forgot to mention that today, at least much. If you're watching and you want to purchase vMix, you can purchase it from us, Eastern Shore Broadcasting, for the same price you get it from vMix, plus you get us for support. There you go. Oh yeah, Rich is asking about the earthquake this morning. I think it was people in North Georgia and southeastern Tennessee experienced earthquake. Jan says, I think we've managed to attract a good mix of rookies and people with lifetime experience. Too much one or the other will ruin the balance. We've removed quite a few videos, indeed. If you have a question or a tip to offer, that's great, but don't need to see your music video or church service. Yeah, that's right. I agree. Subscribe to Field and Streaming. There you go, Todd. I got it. All right, Kent says, Tom, will the Behringer UMC 404 HD be a big learning curve setting up a workflow right now using Zoom US? Well, I don't know Zoom US, so I don't know what your current workflow is, but I will tell you that I've got, I don't have it right here. I've got a stack of goodies right here. I'll show you if I can. Let's see. Of stack of goodies going to the elementary school, and included in that stack of goodies is a Behringer UMC 404 HD that we will, oops, sorry, trying to get back in the center here. Whoa, overdid it. Just using the little handheld remote, which is great. I actually did put a home position on here earlier, but then as you recall during the show, I kicked the stand. I'm going to have to work on that. So there you go. Ken, I think it will simplify your workflow. It's not portable though. I mean, actually, I'm going to take it out for a gig Friday, but but it's better that it not be. I don't know. You could make it portable. Michael says, did everyone use Zoom US via vMix external? Oh, does everyone use Zoom US? The webcam emulation. When I do it, yeah. I mean, at some point, maybe Zoom will grab a hold of NDI, like Skype has. It'd be nice if Skype would add the other direction for NDI, and not only allow the Skype video to be available as an NDI feed, but allow an NDI feed to become a camera in Skype. I think that would be a good addition. I used Zoom earlier this year for a class, live streaming class, and it was very effective. Sorry, I'm going to take this off. It looks kind of hokey, actually. And I used 2 instances of Zoom because I wanted to be able to record the output of the show. And so I had Zoom running on my production PC with vMix running on my production PC, and of course using the external output of vMix as a virtual webcam input into Zoom. And then I would share my screen through Zoom, or I would bring up images through vMix that became part of my image. And then on the second PC, I was a second person as a Zoom participant, and would maximize the speaker view and record the whole thing. And that worked really, really well. Really, really well. Michael says he just started using Zoom. He can send it to a SIP video stream using their SIP H323 connector option. Didn't even know that existed. Huh. Todd says we do we have any PEG access operators in chat? Never even heard of PEG, but it sounds interesting, Todd, since I'm working at the school and you mentioned education. Jan says, I've poked Zoom US to support NDI for both input and output several times. And then to Michael Graves, that usually introduces more delay than the virtual webcam option. Oh, Otis says it's that the UMC 404 is portable and it has very clean audio. Well, there you go. Thank you very much. Dan says, I'm not familiar with virtual webcam. Is that an output option in vMix? Actually, Dan, there's a little button in the very bottom of vMix that says external. And you can direct that external different places. But it also creates a virtual webcam audio and video feed. Is it audio? I think it's audio and video. It's definitely video. That can then be a webcam in Skype or Zoom or other programs that are looking for a webcam. Yeah, there you go. Michael's got it. Did a much better way of explaining it than me. And yeah, and that's right. There are 2 of them. And I think the first one is the vMix main output. and the second one can be assigned to any other input in vMix. So if you have a second camera that you want to use on occasion, or if you want the person on the other end of the Skype to always see you and not see the program feed, which might change from time to time, that's a good way to do it too. And you can do that with vMix Call. If you're using vMix Call, you can tell vMix Call, hey, just use this shot of Tom right here. And don't show the show feed that shows all the other stuff. Just have the shot of Tom. And that I do that a lot of times with clients that haven't used this kind of video chat kind of thing a lot. I want them to look at me. I want them to focus on me no matter what else is going on. So I don't distract them with the other stuff. Yep. So Michael and Dan and Jan and Rich. Rich says, you think you can get an NFHS person on your show? Huh. That's interesting, Rich. There's some things in this world that I have opinions on that, they're just opinions. And there are other things that I have really strong opinions on that I won't do anything to promote or support the opposite of my strong opinion. And the NFHS program is one of those that I hold a strong opinion on. I think they are greedy. I think they are self-serving, and I think they are bullies. But other than that, they're fine. So I'm probably not going to do anything. I mean, I'll set up a gotcha show. I'll set up a trap for them. No, but that's not my style either. That's just not my personality. So I don't want to put myself in an antagonistic interview, because it would be. Because I think what they're doing is the wrong way to do it. And I think they're hurting a lot of people. I think they're hurting a lot of schools. I think they're hurting a lot of athletes. And I think they're hurting a lot of local small towns by doing things the way they're doing and being the big gorilla. But what I'd rather do is I'd rather have a round table where other people can bash them besides me. Oh my goodness. That's the no, it's no problem. Don't feel sorry for bringing it up. If you're interested in high school sports, small college sports, and live streaming sports in particular, you want to take a look at the webcasters group on Facebook, webcasters, and we had the head of that group, Rick, and I can't ever pronounce his last name. I'm terrible with names today. Anyway, Rick was on the group a while back talking about how he got started in live streaming back when he was making tons of money. And Dan wants to know what I have against Niagara Falls High School. Oh, you're too funny. You need vacation, dude. You definitely need vacation. Anyway, Rick has a great group that talks about the ins and outs of live streaming sports, and there's been some good discussions about the NFHS programs on there, with people talking about the kind of the inner circle knowledge, and then the stuff that gets promoted, and how it all works. And it if I were an investor that wanted to invest in live streaming, I might be interested in something like this, especially if I didn't understand a whole lot about live streaming. And so I might plunk down a couple of million to see if I can't get a good return on that. And Todd is expressing a common complaint about what goes on there. Basically, NFHS wants to take high school sports and monetize it via pay-per-view. And I just think that's the wrong way to go about doing it. I really do. I think it should be for the most part, these are public schools. They're owned by the city or the county or the school system, and they're open and free to all. And that events like that ought to be free to all too. So we were very successful in the very early days of live streaming, getting local sponsors to foot the bill, essentially, for the live streaming of soccer matches. And nobody in Alabama watches soccer on live stream, but we grew an audience, and we provided value to our advertisers, our sponsors, and it was free. And I think that's the way to do it. But that it takes work, and it takes and it's not easily replicated from community to community, because it requires a person to go to another person and ask for money, and a lot of people don't like to do that. And so NFHS just said, oh, well, then that's easy. We'll just make whoever wants to watch pay for it. We'll cut out the middleman. And so what happens is an audience that might be 1,200 is now 50 or 30 or 25. An audience that would otherwise be 300 might be 5. And supposedly the money gets shared with the school and shared with the people that actually do the broadcasting, unless they use one of their fancy, no person cameras. But that's sorry, I got off on that. Anybody get the impression Tom's getting old and forgetful? No, I just never was good at names. Yeah, Dan is like, who's Tom? That's good. Michael says, sports seriously warps educational infrastructure here in the U.S., bearing in mind that he grew up in Canada. Yeah, well, I don't have anything to compare it to in Canada, because I don't know Canada schools or sports. Maybe hockey, curling, indoor sports. Todd says they lock out our school for doing sectional playoff games with exclusive right contracts with the state athletics commission. Yeah, they've done that here for years. I mean, even back in the soccer days, we couldn't do playoff games because there was believe it or not, the state athletic association had sold the rights to all postseason play to Raycom Sports Network. And so Raycom, they wanted basketball and they wanted football, and they would go in and do those games, especially the final 16 or whatever in basketball and the finals in football. But the other minor sports, baseball, volleyball, softball, soccer, they had no interest in. Although I take that back, they would send a truck to the semifinals and finals with a camera that would pan the field back and forth. And I think the second year they did it, they posted a score. Eventually they ended up with commentators after a few years, but it was woefully inadequate. And I volunteered to do it for free, but they I guess they weren't interested. They didn't, and I think they wanted me to pay $500 a game. Yeah, and what Jan's talking about is to pay for a stream and still get bombarded with ads. And there are a lot of folks that were doing ads and had sold ads. And in fact, that happened here locally. And then they were being told that they had to send the stream to NFHS instead of locally. I mean, instead of just out to whoever. And if you promised an advertiser 1,200 eyeballs, a game, and now you're going to give him 50, that's not fair. Hey, Kirk's here. He said he just paid the high school league $1,000 to broadcast 2 playoff games due to the NFHS rights. Well, and again, Kurt, I don't know about South Carolina, but I know here in Alabama, before the NFHS NFHS thing came about, they had been selling the rights to the postseason games for years, maybe decades. And NFHS, probably has aggravated that. And what they've probably done with your local or with your state athletic association is, pledge some sort of revenue share as opposed to just paying them for rights. And I suspect that there are millions and millions of dollars changing hands. Dodgeball, aka Battle Ball, rocks. I bet that would be fun to live stream. Fun. Well, guys, I'm about to run out of steam here, and I got to get ready to work on this school and building a PC that's going to go to Washington, D.C., to the Urban League. So that'll be fun. But if I can help you with anything, you know how to reach me. Thank you for tuning in today. Have a great day, great rest of the week, and I will see you next week on the 19th, the week before Christmas, with another exciting, stimulating, spine-curdling, is that a word? Episode. Thanks for watching. I'll let it run out for a bit so you won't be cut off. And I will see you soon.